Greetings and welcome back to another wristwatch video and another wristwatch review. Now last time we talked about an AliExpress brand, the Escapement Time brand. However, now let's go back to the more traditional watch brand, so to speak, and talk about Seiko and their Seiko 5 SNK809 watch. Is it still worth a buy in 2022? Before you do that, before you switch perspectives, take a closer look at the watch. Wristwatch check. What am I wearing today? Today I am wearing my Stowa Marine Classic 4D dress watch. I have already made a review of this watch. If you're interested in that, link is in the description of this video. So now let's take a closer look at the Seiko 5 SNK809, come back here, talk about the pros and cons, and overall if I recommend you buy this watch. And as we always do, let's take a quick look at the box the watch came in first. So this watch came in a lovely box in my opinion. It has this white outer sleeve, which is made out of cardboard. Nothing really special about that, it's just a white cardboard sleeve. And we get the lovely blue Seiko box. Now there is some texturing, there is some soft material over the box, which I really like. And like I said, it's a blue box with the Seiko letters in gold at the top, and these little cubes going around the Seiko logo at the sides, and on the back we don't really have anything. And when we open the box, we get the instructions and also the guarantee card, which is there standard for Seiko watches overall. And we get the beautiful SNK809 on this white pillow, and on the pillow it also says Seiko. So let me just take this off the pillow. Yeah, as you can see, it says Seiko. And also the watch had a hang tag on it, and the hang tag had some additional information on it. So like the water resistance, the movement, the crystal, etc. So yeah, overall, I really like this box. I think you can't really ask for a better box in this price category, but the box is not as important as the watch itself. So here we have the SNK809 watch, and let's start with the dimensions as we always do. So the diameter of the watch is 37 millimeters. The thickness of the watch is 10.7 millimeters, so almost 11 millimeters. The lug to lug distance is 43 millimeters, and the lug width is 18 millimeters. The watch case itself is of course made out of 316L stainless steel, as is to be expected, and the finishing is very interesting because it is a sandblasted finish. It's not polished, it's not brushed, it's sandblasted, which is very cool because it's fairly scratch resistant, or should I say scratches do not appear as easy on this type of finishing. Now it's all sandblasted except for the case back. The case back itself is polished, and this is probably just to cut costs because it would probably cost them more to make sandblasted case backs just for this particular line. The crown of the watch is at the 4 o'clock position, and it is not signed. It is a push-pull crown, so it's not a screw-down crown. So once you pull the crown out, you set the watch. When you finish, you click it back into place. So because it's a push-pull crown, it should it probably means that it's a low water resistance, and of course it is. This watch has only 30 meters of water resistance declared. Now, the crystal that's protecting this watch is a flat piece of Hardlex crystal, so this is not sapphire nor mineral crystal. Hardlex is somewhere in between. It's more scratch resistant than mineral, however less scratch resistant than sapphire crystal, but also it's more shatterproof than sapphire crystal, which is not that bad in all honesty. And the case back is also Hardlex crystal if you're curious. And while we're here, let's take a closer look at the dial of the watch. So it is a black dialed watch, and the layout of the dial is essentially like a German Flieger watch. So the watch the German Luftwaffe used in the Second World War, more precisely the Type B Flieger watches, with the minutes being at the outer side of the dial and the hours being at the inner side. And of course, we are talking about Arabic numerals here, so they are not Roman, they are in fact Arabic numerals. And everything on the dial you can see is printed except for the logo. Also, we have the date complication, or day-date complication, sorry, at the 3 o'clock position. And what I like is that it actually fits the rest of the dial, unlike some other watch brands which would just leave this white and would not fit at all. But Seiko actually did the homework and made this to match. So below the 12 o'clock position we have the applied Seiko logo, and above the 6 o'clock we have the letters automatic and 21 jewels. Now the hands of the watch are of course Flieger style hands, so the minute and hour hands are Flieger style, and we have a lollipop seconds hand with this lovely red tip, which provides nice contrast to the mostly black and white dial. In addition, this dial has lume, so the hour and minute hand as well as the hour markers have lume, or they have at least lume dots above them. And the lume is of course Seiko's Lumibright. However, it does not last very long. There is not much lume in it. It will not last to the entire night, but I think that's okay considering the fact that this is a watch which is priced under $100. Now, as we can see here, the seconds hand is doing a sweeping motion. It's not going tick tock, which is usually an indication that we are talking about a mechanical movement. I mean, it says automatic at the dial anyway. So the movement powering this watch is the in-house Seiko 7S26 movement. This movement has 21 jewels. It beats at 21,600 beats per hour. When fully wound, it has a power reserve of 41 hours, and it also has the Seiko magic lever system. Additionally, with regards to the decoration, there is basically no decoration at all at this movement, but I think that's still okay because for most people this will be a first automatic watch, and I think it's always cool to look at how the watch is actually functioning. Additional information on the case back, we have the Seiko branding, water resistant, and here it says stainless steel 7S26. Overall, I like this movement. I like this little case back. And yes, that's pretty much it regarding the watch itself. Now, originally, this watch came on a metal bracelet, which I took off immediately. Why? Well, because it is a very bad hollow link and hollow end link bracelet. It has this sandblasted finishing, which should match the case of the watch. However, I noticed that the case sandblasting and the bracelet sandblasting do not exactly have the same color, but it almost matches. The clasp is pressed metal, again very flimsy. The whole overall bracelet is very rattly, very flimsy. I really don't like it. And at the clasp we have the Seiko 5 imprinted on it. So yes, I just took it off the bracelet as soon as I got the watch and put it on this Barden sailcloth strap, which I think looks a lot nicer, honestly. I mean, you can fit it with all sorts of straps and you would not have any issues. Second to last thing I wanted to do is show you how to set the watch. So when we pull the crown to the first position, we can set the date. When you rotate the crown upwards, we can set the date. And when we rotate the crown downwards, we set the day. Now, as you can see, we have two different languages for each day of the week. This is because Seiko 5 watches have different languages depending on what region they are meant to be sold at. So mine has English and Italian. So for example, Thursday we have yo, I don't know how you say Friday in Italian, and FRI for Friday, but there's also German. I saw Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Arabic. It all depends on what region. This was most probably made for the Italian market. And when we pull the crown to the second position, as we can see, the second hand is still going, so it's not hacking, and we can set the time however we would like. And when we finish with it, just click it back into place and the watch is ready to go. And the last thing to show you how it looks on my wrist. So I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, or 17 centimeters. And you can get a feel on maybe how the watch could look on your wrist compared to mine. So here we have the watch on my wrist, and I think the watch looks gorgeous on my wrist. I really love how it looks on me, and I'm sure you would love how it looks on you as well. And that's it. That's pretty much it regarding this watch. So now let's go back to the original perspective, talk about the pros and cons, and overall if I recommend you buying this watch. And we are back. So that was the Seiko 5 SNK809 close-up. So now, as we always do in these videos, let's talk about the pros and cons of this watch and finally come to the conclusion if it's still worth a buy in 2022. Now, even though this is an older model, I still think it has plenty of pros to it. Starting with the price, as I'm recording this video on September 3rd, 2022, this watch is still available on sites like JomoShop. So on JomoShop, I found this watch on the metal bracelet for just under $72, which I think is a fair price. There is also the nylon strap version, which is $94 for some reason. It's more expensive, but you can get it on a metal bracelet like I did for under $72, which I think is a fairly good price. Now, next pro is, of course, brand heritage. The brand Seiko has had its impact on the watch world, let's just put it like that. So it single-handedly managed to kill off many Swiss watch brands with the quartz crisis. So I think it's pretty cool to have a watch with so much heritage on your wrist for under $100. The movement is obviously a plus. So this is an in-house 7S26 automatic movement. Now, it doesn't really have functions like hacking and hand winding, but again, I think that's okay for the price of this watch. You are still getting a reliable movement, one which is easily serviceable and with spare parts readily available. So definitely the movement is a pro. Of course, because of the way the watch itself is designed, it is a strap monster. So I put that as a pro because you will simply never get bored of this watch. You can wear it on many different leather straps, NATO straps, nylon straps, watch bracelets or metal bracelets. So definitely a strap monster and you will never be bored of this watch. The complications are very useful, so I put that as a pro as well. So you do get the date complication. Now I use these complications very often actually at my work. So it's definitely a pro for me. So that's why I put it as a pro in this video as well. Also the Hardlex crystal. Now it's not sapphire, but for a $72 watch with an in-house movement, I think that the Hardlex crystal is appropriate. It is more scratch resistant than a classic mineral crystal, but it is also a lot more shatterproof than a average or classic sapphire crystal. So that's why I think Hardlex is appropriate for this little wristwatch. And finally, the last pro, which will also be a con, but we'll talk about that soon, is the lume. The fact that this watch has lume, Seiko's LumiBrite, is definitely a pro for this watch. So those are all the pros I found. And now let's talk about the cons. And there are 3 cons that I found for this watch. The first one being the lume, like I already said. So even though it is a pro, the fact that the watch has lume, I think it's a con because the lume doesn't really last all night and doesn't really last as long as I would like it to. And also the orientation in the dark is kind of difficult because you're not really sure where is the 12-hour marker because all the hour markers have a single lume dot above them. So that's unfortunate. So that's why I would put the lume as a con as well. The bracelet, of course, is horrible. So the metal bracelet the watch originally came in was absolutely horrible and I removed it instantly. Literally after making my Serbian review of this watch, I removed the bracelet and never put it back on it. It's just so bad. The hollow links, hollow end links, the pressed bracelet, clasp, sorry, not bracelet, just a horrible bracelet. So it's definitely a con. And finally, the last con I put was the low water resistance because in my opinion, 30 meters is not enough for a watch that's supposed to be a field watch. At least 50 meters, 100 would be the best, but they just put 30 meters on this watch, so that's why I put it as a con. However, even though those are all the cons I found, I think the pros still outweigh the cons, and yes, I do believe that this watch is worth it in 2022. This is a watch well respected within the wristwatch community. This is a watch that has almost like a cult following to it. A lot of people love to collect the different colors of the SNK809 watch, and I personally believe it's a pretty cool watch to have, and you can buy it for under $100, which is very nice. So yes, definitely it's still worth a buy in 2022. I'll leave the JomoShop link in this video if you want to buy it, or maybe you can find it on some other sites or maybe on eBay. But generally, yes, I think you should buy it. I think this is a watch worth having in your collection. So that's pretty much it. So if you like this review, as always, leave a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, leave a thumbs down and maybe give me some suggestions on how I can improve my content. Subscribe if you want to see more wristwatch or fragrance related videos. And until next time guys, have a great day and